Qué pesada. Ahí voy. Venga, venga. Un mensaje de la doctora Swansea. Que lo lea Pepe. No, debe estar peor que yo. No quiero. No, mira, mira cómo no voy. Ole. Ah, la pucha. Qué pesada. Bueno, ¿qué querés?
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know you're depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Mira. No hay nada aquí. No se puede entrar a la habitación. Ningún tipo de... No se puede entrar a la
Nurse,
habitación.
this room is off limits, and I'd prefer to... Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
it's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way there.
Gracias, te agradezco. Seguimos en el hospital.
I cannot enter.
Investigar un poquito. Derecha. A la perinola. Arma de lucha cuerpo a cuerpo. Machete usado. Historia clínica. El... Todo viene bien. Toma Herbo, viste. Viene bien, viene bien. Ah, pero... ¿Quién es? Chen. ¿No tienen alguien que limpie el hospital? Pregunto, ¿no? Desastre. Yo puedo limpiar. Si me pagan bien, limpio. Bajamos. E investigamos. ¿Usted quién es?
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr.
Don't tell me you'll change that.
Espera un poco. No leí lo que dice.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't...
¿Por qué Milton tiene tal mal humor?
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Ah, bien, estamos ready.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Goodbye. ¿Qué creo? Gente. Carta larga. Hola. Te agradezco. ¿Es pista de ella? No piensa en renunciar. ¡Pipa! ¡Pipa! ¿Dónde se fue Pipa? Pipa, Pipa. No, bueno, vos tenés cara de ojete. Acá está. ¿Esta es Pipa?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Se saludan re cordial de nuevo. Pista de ciudadano. Como vampiro puedes obligar a un ciudadano a revelar información gracias a la pista que has descubierto, indicada en azul. ¿Ok? Ah, acá, qué pelotudo.
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave?
A Pipa estaba re. Sabía.
But in the end, I don't feel that useful.
Sabía que te querías ir, Pipa.
I want to make things change.
Los pacientes la necesitan. Los pacientes te necesitan, Pipa.
For all the
Patient home, it's a relief beyond words. But since the epidemic, I feel so powerless.
Y ya está, ¿no?
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Adiós, Pipa. ¿Se llama Pipa o como Pingo se llama? Pipa. Vos me caes mal. A la mucha. Señor, muy bien con la mascarilla puesta. Sí me gusta. Señor, también. Hay que cuidarse. A ver.
Good evening, Nurse
No,
Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
no pensé que era Pipa. A ver, imagino que... Correte. F. En el chat.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd.
Ah, pero ponete un nombre más tranquilo,
Does
Leo.
my
Ponete
arrival
Pepe o
inconvenience
Ricardo.
you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just
Mira
say
el
that
nombre
I
que
don't
tiene,
particularly
boludo.
share
Imposible de
Dr.
pronunciar.
Swansea's enthusiasm for
Te
hiring
llamaré Pepe.
What we need here are reliable, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Jojo, te voy a cagar a trompadas. No hace falta tanta animosidad. Los celos no lo harán bien. No, lo veo
You are going
agresivo.
to change your tone with me, my dear colleague.
Sí.
Very quickly.
I don't think so. Perhaps you think yourself protected by Dr. Swansea, but I am still a free man, and I will speak to you the way I want.
¡Jua! Te espera afuera en el
I
callejón,
want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Che, ¿lo puedo matar ahora mismo? Tengo ganas de morderle.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Es un hijo de puta este. Si acá hay alguno que no tiene mascarilla. ¡Eh!
I cannot.
¿Quién se metió ahí? Hola. Acá,
Could
boludo.
not dare to believe we'd
Voy a
have
estar
such
toda la
good
noche
fortune.
hablando con gente.
Such an honor, sir. Thank you. And you are? I am Thoreau Strickland.
Pero, vaya el nombre que tiene.
I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Te llamaré Oscar.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's
Capaz me apuré en
modern
preguntarse.
medical
Con el
method?
cosito azul.
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea
Qué
told
grande
me
este de
that
los míos.
science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Me complacerá ayudarlo. Las investigaciones son agotadoras. Ojalá me complacerá ayudarlo.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but my process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Investigaciones de los ciudadanos categorizados. Puede comenzar una nueva búsqueda de ciudadanos. Rastreo con animales. No, mirá que falta preguntarle esto.
Tell me more about your willingness to...
Convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your...
Oh, re agresivo.
I want nothing but to save my patient, ashamed of putting his children at risk.
Harvey Frederick. Espectacular. Estamos acá investigando. Se quiere ir a la mierda el doctor y yo ahora estoy preguntando de todo.
Goodbye, Dr.
Te
Strickland.
agradezco, doctor Pepe. No, este es Oscar. Por allá. Un Lidl te saludará.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick.
Vamos por acá, Hugo.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself.
Esta técnica ya la conozco.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps.
Ok, estamos.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
Bastante bien, Carta inconclusa. Ah, le robé nomás la carta que estaba al lado de él. Qué bien. Bien. Esta es la última pista.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Aproveché que estaba de espalda y le robé la carta. Acá está.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Body. Sería.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
Bien, bien. Conseguimos bastante info. A ver acá. Por favor, regrese a su casa. Disculpe, señor. Se me salió el ojo. ¿Podría ayudar? No, no. Ahora cagaste, ¿no? Todo ocupado. Pero mi ojo. Todo ocupado. Ah, mira.
Tell me,
Bien,
Waver,
bien.
what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you
La
thinking
otra
about
está,
something
parece que,
particular?
pero
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery.
se
I
bañó en
believe we
sangre.
should stick to the usual procedure. But my young
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to...
Why do you wish to lead this?
that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Sobre las consecuencias desde un punto de vista conservador. Confío en su criterio.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions, whatever the result.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
Te voy a cagar a trompadas. Ah,
Thank you for your time.
agarrámosla con este un toque.
Yes, Doctor?
Ya está. Tengo una
London's
cara,
trenches
mirá.
start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the
Yo
front
veo a
line,
alguien
make no
así,
mistake.
salgo corriendo, boludo. Está hecho mierda.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane. Thank you.
Uy, esta tiene una cara de loca.
Good evening, miss.
No.
I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm
Me
inclined
voy a
to
la
mercy.
mierda.
You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
No.
And
Esta me
why
puede
do you
ayudar,
think
eh.
you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
En la morgue,
The
ojo.
staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Nueva investigación. Objetivo equivocado. ¿Cómo que objetivo equivocado?
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal?
Calmate, boludo.
What do you require? Proof of my powers?
Sí.
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark.
I wish I could be sick again. Feel my
Está loquísima, ¿eh?
blood boil with the fever.
Querida hermana. ¿Y este?
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think
Te ha
you
hecho
can.
mierda tu cara,
I'm
amigo.
Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon.
Ni bola le dan. Motivo de su
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore.
No.
Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to
Fue
burn.
la mierda.
Come back disfigured by the Germans. And it's another to get injured in an accident that could have...
You know you can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery.
My friends all died in the trenches. It's shameful enough to be alive with these stupid scars. I don't want my children to see me like this.
¿Tienes hijos? Enfermedad de la señora Howcroft.
How close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here.
Oh,
Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. Her arm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
es raro este chabón,
So do you let her bite you?
Cuénteme sobre su
You told me before you don't want your children to see you like this. Do you have any other family?
My sister Agatha has raised me nippers since their mother died. Don't want...
siendo.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
The pain.
Good evening,
I
Mr.
need blood, doctor.
Cállate la boca. Ah, mira, viene ahí.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. L?
I'm not sure, Doc.
¿Quién sacó?
Do you plan to make him a vampire?
Of course not. How could I inflict my...
Would you say you and Mr. L would?
No.
Y
No,
este
Thomas
chabón
is
acá,
dead.
solito y solo. Ah, ya sé.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton.
Y me lo salvé.
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sorry, I must have...
What do you mean?
I was not...
You remained perfectly nice. Goodbye, Mr. Hampton.
Otro doctor.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the
Sí,
Rockefeller
porque estás de
University
espalda.
in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed.
Tell me more about cherished people.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most...
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Si ya fuera un hombre. Ah, no tengo nada, Ojo con esto.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Es sospechoso, Ah, la
Good
Hermes.
evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here.
Es McGonagall,
Dr.
boludo.
Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Is there anyone that...
Well, I have never met...
Why should his age be a problem?
Hay algo
Because it's
acá,
fair to
hay
say he's
algo.
always...
Goodbye, nurse.
La cara de preocupado que puso. Hola a los pibes. Levántense. Que laburar.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. It's locked, all right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed, a colleague.
La cara.
Are you a doctor too?
Not
La
anymore,
cara.
sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana.
An interesting...
Sir, as a medic during the war,
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
Que como se enoja cuando
I
pregunto
believe
un
we must
asunto.
do all the good we can while alive. Do you think you would enjoy?
I don't think so. Don't mistake.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just...
Codeína. Gana codeína. Ah, no veo ya cuánto tengo. Lo compro. Es una fórmula enigmática. Amor mío, finalmente considera.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate.
¿Qué? Ahí de noche y tengo miedo, ¿eh? Ah, de voces, cosas raras. Pegale cabeza al chico. Me muero, boludo. Pipa.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their...
A la puta. No, amigo, no. Es de noche. Soy muy cagón. ¿Escuchá? Hijo de puta. No quiero ir. ¿Puedo abrir acá? No, no salgas. Sos un estúpido. Tenía miedo y me fui a la mierda. No, boludo, no quería ir. Ya los gritos, amigo. Está re loco. ¿Puedo ir para acá?
It's locked.
¿Qué tengo que disparar?
Fortified. Ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
¿Chelines?
This key will surely grant me access to the basement.
Bien ahí. Ahora sí. Dios mío, qué mal. Soy un imbécil. Soy un total tarado, boludo. No tenía nada. Estoy recagado.
These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood.
Un kilómetro. Atrás. Atrás. Otro. Mira. Bien. ¿Dónde estás? Ahora. Saca. Muerto. Bien. Salí de ahí. Me la recomí, soy un imbécil. Ya, guay está. Hola. ¿Estás vivo, güey? Qué vivo. Qué bien esto.
It's locked. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this.
A ver. ¿Quieres ver esas
Multiple
condiciones?
abrasions and scars on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps?
De hecho,
The
esto.
chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened.
Kawasaki.
Puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion.
Hemorragia.
Signs of internal bleeding.
Se va a despertar este hijo de puta.
So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death.
Lo mató.
And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked.
No, lo que le hizo a mí.
Tippett has made an
Lo piró de nuevo encima.
It's locked, all right.
Ya, guau. Mierda, qué grande. ¿Hay alguien? Allá está. ¡Ah! A la pija, a la verga, a la verga, a la verga. Socorro. ¿Qué hace de Naruto? Socorro. Puta. Están cagando atropados, Hoy no es mi día. No, estoy muerto. No, sí, no. Muy mal. Bueno, a ver. Ah, tengo que recargar. Muero, Ah, sí, me queda uno, bien. No.
not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
Ahí medio muerto, ¿eh? Tengo nada para hacerme un... Bien ahí. Muestra de sangre. No venía ese sangre. Ok, pero me falta, siempre me falta algo. Acá, acá. Bien ahí. Bien ahí. Bien ahí. Bien ahí. Ah, de este tengo para hacer. Bien. Sí. Sí. Bien, bien. Yo no decía vergas. Hasta acá yo creo que estamos.